Welcome everyone to the NoDQ.com live predictions video for AEW's Full Gear 2025 pay-per-view event. Full Gear will be taking place not too far from Moofman in New Jersey, Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. I'll start with you first, as we do for every predictions live stream. What's your overall excitement level on a scale of 1 to 10 for Full Gear 2025?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The back-to-back Jersey pay-per-views. Whoop whoop. Rep
Are you going?
I'm on standby right now. Last year I jumped on the whole pre-sale. This year I completely dropped the ball on that, so it'll be a last-minute decision. But I'm excited. I'm about at a 7.5, pushing almost towards an 8. So I'll say a 7.99. If you guys have been watching the panels and the discussion groups, I'm a mark for all the ladies, and I got excited when we have 4 tag teams of women coming up on Saturday, so that bumped me up a little bit. But I'm really curious and excited for the women's world title match, and also the main event as well, the men's world title match. I love it how Hangman specifies the men's world title match. And it's going to be an interesting discussion about that tonight. I want to know what you guys think about that, because I have a lot of thoughts on that. But overall, yeah, I'm at a 7.99, close to an 8. And again, like I said, I'll keep everybody intact if I do go. But yeah, another show in Jersey. The Jersey crowd, we're going to be hot again. I know we are, just like last year. And I just hope it's going to be a good show. But again, like we always say, AEW does bring it when it comes to pay-per-views.
All right. Thank you for that. Matthew, I'll go over to you next. What's your excitement level for Full Gear 2025?
I'm about a 6, a little bit of a 7. I'm curious about this one for a couple reasons, with a lot of the rumors going on and just how they're going to book themselves in or out of certain situations. But, we'll talk about that in detail. But yeah, there's a couple matches. A lot of us are predicting, are we going to see a couple title changes? Are we going to see a couple face or heel turns? And I'm curious if this is going to work in AEW's favor or just be more of the same in the overall. But yeah, I'd say about between a 6 and a 7.
All right. Thank you for that. And now we'll go over to Dave. Welcome back, Dave. What are your thoughts on this pay-per-view overall as a whole?
Thank you, Aaron. I'm saying I'm leaning probably towards a 7. Like Matthew, I think there's a possibility of a couple either heel or face turns that we'll talk about, but probably about 7.
All right. I'm feeling in the same ballpark, maybe 6.5. I usually don't like to do a number in the middle. I either go 6 or 7. Oh, 6, 7. There you go. I just did that. Great. Thank you, South Park. I think it's going to be a really good show, maybe a great show, but the build for it, as it's been for some of the shows this year, I feel like the storylines week to week haven't exactly been the most intriguing for the pay-per-views. However, the pay-per-views continue to deliver, and that's what really carries me and gets me through these pay-per-views. Now, it is on my birthday, November 22nd, so I got to stay up late for that one. My Saturday night, birthday night, is going to be watching Full Gear. Hopefully they put on a great show for me, and then I'll be doing the stream technically November 23rd, since we know it damn sure will go over the midnight hour, and it will probably end at like 12:15, 12:30, something like that. So anyways, yeah, I hated doing the 6-7, but I did not intend to do it. I apologize. All right, guys, let's get to the show. We got 9 main card matches we'll be discussing, and shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. I appreciate it. We got 9 matches. We're not going to talk about the tailgate brawl. Now it's called the tailgate brawl. Used to be the buy-in. I don't care. I'm not going to talk about that. We're just going to get straight to the pay-per-view matches. Now we'll see if like one of the tailgate matches goes into the pay-per-view like it did last time, or if they'll just do the usual format. We'll see what happens. But anyways, we're going to start off with the Full Gear Casino Gauntlet match to determine the first ever AEW National Champion. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a list of the participants for this, so I guess it's going to be most of the guys that are not in a pay-per-view match. Could be some guys that are part of the tailgate show, but we'll go ahead and get everybody's thoughts on this. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin are the first two guys in it. So we'll see what happens if they work together. I presume they will for the beginning of it, and we'll see how long it lasts. I don't know who else is going to be in the match, but we'll go ahead and get everyone's thoughts on this if they have any predictions. For the No DQ League, we're going to have 2 picks. So if anybody out there has an idea of who's going to be in the match, chat room, feel free to leave some comments. Matthew, I'm going to go right over to you on this one. Thoughts, and do you have a personal preference, like who should be the first national champion? I know it's another championship. We already got so many titles in AEW, and they're bringing in yet another one. What are your thoughts? And if you had a choice, who would be your first champion personal preference?
Well, I don't think we need the title. Then there's the whole controversy of this being the national title. You know, Tony claims it's his own title, but, you know, they keep referring to the lineage of the NWA National Championship that exists and is in NWA. But I think I hate my 2 picks because I know where this is going to lead. But I think my first pick is Lashley, because he needs some sort of singles title, even if it's this. Unfortunately, my second pick is the clown himself, Ricochet, because they feel like the logical 2 choices. The only problem, though, is, you know, if either one wins, this means we're going to get more Lashley and Ricochet feuds, because I don't see who else really, because everybody else is either dealing with the Don Callis jobbers, or, you know, the Death Riders. So I don't really see who else would be eligible. Now, maybe it could be a surprise, maybe, you know, but I don't know who that could be, because, you know, Wardlow's out. There's no way Swerve or Ospreay are coming back, and I think this would be beneath them. And I know some people even said MJF, but I think MJF is going to be involved in other things. So, yeah, I think of everybody that could possibly be involved, it either is going to be Lashley or Ricochet. And those are going to be my 1 and 2. All
right. Sounds good. I mean, Bobby Lashley is a really solid pick, but I feel like since he's the first guy in the match, he's not going to win it. I don't know. Dave, I'll go over to you next on this one. Who's a guy that's like a good old school 80s style wrestler that could fit the mold for the national title? Do they have somebody that could be that guy? What do you think?
I'm not sure. I did see a little bit about, I was looking up earlier about if anyone was announced for the Gauntlet other than the ones we know. And I saw Hobbs mentioned too. I saw it online somewhere when I was Googling stuff earlier. But because my first pick is Lashley, but because I think you need to get him something single-wise, something to get him out of the hurt syndicate web here. And I think if I'm correct in Hobbs, then I'd have Hobbs as my second choice. But I think, isn't the Gauntlet match, isn't it something where first is supposed to be good because you can pin anybody anytime, can't you?
Yes.
To win it, or does it? So I'm sticking with Lashley with Matthew too to be the first pick, though.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's any free agents that could possibly come in and win this thing as a surprise. Oofman, I'll go over to you next. Any thoughts or ideas for this one?
Well, I'm not feeling Ricochet, because after what we saw on this past Dynamite, for him to be treated like just getting destroyed by Bob the Lash like that, and then now all of a sudden you're going to put a title on him, I'm not going to be able to take the title serious, let alone Ricochet as the champion serious. So I can't say it would be Ricochet. He'll be in it. He'll do his flippity flips and all his tactics. Hopefully he doesn't go on the mic, because I don't know about y'all, that promo last night, woofa. Well, anyway, so Ricochet is not my pick. He'll cause trouble and all that. I'm feeling, Bobby Lashley is the favorite to win this, but my first pick, I'm actually going to say Shelton may take it because Bob, I said earlier, maybe I'm making a bold prediction for 2026. In 2026, I think we will finally see Bobby Lashley as AEW World Champion. So I don't think this national title suits him or will be for him. So I'm actually going to go with Shelton Benjamin as my number one pick because I think the match will start off them two just looking at each other, and then they'll wait till everybody else is coming in, kind of like Lesnar did at the Rumble a couple years ago, where he just waited for people, and then when Benjamin came out, they just waited again. But then obviously Brock attacked him. But I think they'll just wait, and then somewhere along the line, they may come down to them too if Shelton takes it. So Shelton's my number one. As far as Aaron, a old school wrestler or someone who give the feel of an old school 80s wrestler, I'm going to take a wild shot about a guy who's been injured. No one's been talking about it, but what about Switchblade Jay White? Making a comeback? He looks like he could fit that mold that you're talking about, Aaron. We haven't heard about him. No update. We know he was hurt. So maybe he's the comeback. So he's my wild horse pick. But my number one pick, I'm going to go with Shelton Benjamin for this.
All right, fair enough. I think I'm going to stick with Lashley as the number one. I feel like it's not going to be Karrion Kross. I saw people bringing up his name, or Killer Kross, excuse me. I feel like AEW doesn't want him. Tony Khan said this week that he hasn't even talked to Karrion Kross in years. You would think that he would have tried to talk to him if he was really interested in bringing him in. So I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just going to throw it out there as my second pick. I'll say Hook is the guy that wins it. I don't know. Is Hook in a match on the main card? I don't think he is.
No, him and Burger Kingston are in a pre-show match though against mystery opponents.
And that, they could still be in the gauntlet. I'm sure some of the guys that are on the tailgate brawl are going to be on the actual show. So what the hell? I'm just going to throw it out there and say Hook is my number two because I can't even think of a better person at this point. Plus, other than the FTW title, is Hook held? Well, he had the trios titles, right? Like Hook hasn't had like a real singles title. Did he have the TNT title? There's been so many champions I'm forgetting at this point.
No.
Okay, so yeah.
No, just FTW he has.
Okay, so yeah, he can actually have a legitimate championship. I'll say Hook is my second pick, with Lashley being number one. All right, we'll move on here to the next match. Let's discuss the women. Let's get to the women's match. We got a fatal four-way. I'm not really a fan of this. So this is just 4 teams, and the winning team, they're all in the tournament to crown the first women's tag team champions. The winning team gets to pick the match stipulation for their next match, which I don't know. This just feels like filler to me. We got to get them all on the pay-per-view, but the tournament's still ongoing, and I'm not really that interested in this, but I'm sure it'll be a good match, and I feel like the winner of this match will not win the tournament. I don't know how you guys feel about this one. I'm going to say a heel team wins this one, which means I'm probably going to say the Sisters of Sin pick up the win in this one. I don't think Marina Shafir and Megan Bayne need it. I'll say the Sisters of Sin win and pick some hardcore, violent match that suits them or whatever. So yeah, I'll say they win it, and they're probably not going to win the tournament. So I think they're a good pick. Oof, I'm going to go over to you. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, like I said, this is one I'm excited for. I loves me, the women in AEW, but I'm actually going to go reverse of what you said, Aaron. I'm going to go with Megan and Marina winning this. The story I'm seeing is coming off of Blood and Guts. They were the main, protagonists of not only holding down Toni Storm, but beating the living hoo-has out of poor Mina. And so I think they'll take this one, and I believe they are facing Mina and Toni Storm. So that's why I think they're going to win. They're going to put, as far as a stipulation, I don't know, whatever stipulation, it'll probably be no holds barred, no DQ, which is basically the same thing. It'll just be some hardcore thing where Megan and Marina will probably just want to hopefully not repeat 100% what they did at Blood and Guts, but they'll want to put the pain to Mina and to Tony. But Mina and Tony will overcome. They're my pick to be the first ever AEW Women's Tag Champs, Mina and Tony. They're awesome new entrants that they made last night. It's like that just guarantees it that they're going to win. But for this match, I'm going with Megan and Marina to win. The stipulation will be some weapons match, whatever, hardcore match for their match against Tony and Mina. Still going to be a great match with all 8, 2, 4, 6, all 8 ladies. No, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yes, all 8 ladies.
All right. Thank you for that. Oof. Dave, I'll go over to you next. Your thoughts on this one?
There we go. Okay. I'm feeling, I think I've changed my mind. I was thinking Tony at first, but you made up great, Mina at first, but you made a good point, Aaron. I don't think if they win this, that they win the titles. I kind of am leaning towards Uthman. We saw Megan and them get the best of Mina in the Blood and Guts, and I kind of think that's going to continue. I think, and they're kind of pushing Megan, which is nice because we keep saying that they disappear from the newer women too. I think Megan and Rough Rider there will win this match, and I think they're going to pin Mina again.
All right, fair enough. Matthew, we'll go over to you next.
I'm with Uthman on Dave in this one. I think it's going to be Megan and Marina. They are definitely the strongest looking team right now, even though from the way it's looking, yeah, Tony and Mina, now that they have a new tag team entrant, it feels like they are the dead giveaway to win it all. If it's not them, I think it should be Harley and Willow. But yeah, either way, I do agree with you, though. It is stupid that one match is determining a stipulation. So what? Does that mean the other 2 teams get just a normal match? Why not, why didn't they just have the heel? Why didn't they just make it an 8-man or an 8-woman? Have the 2 babyface teams and the 2 heel teams do it. And then the winners of, the heels or the babyface get to decide the stipulations for both their matches. That would have made more logical sense than having all 4 teams do it and then just one team picks. But yeah, I think the heels are going to win, but like everybody else, it's going to lead to their downfall in the end.
All right. Thank you for that. And now we will move on the card. Next up, we have Jon Moxley one-on-one with Kyle O'Reilly. Yes, Kyle O'Reilly, who hasn't really been pushed very much in the last couple of years, is suddenly getting in a strong position on television. He tapped out Jon Moxley in Blood and Guts, and now they are going to have a no-holds-barred match. Anything goes in this one. I feel like Jon Moxley should be taking a vacation, take some time off, recharge his batteries, let his character refresh and maybe come back as something a little bit different. Feel he's gotten a bit stale. The Death Riders, I'm over it. But after tapping out to Kyle O'Reilly, I would be shocked if Moxley loses again. So I'm picking Jon Moxley to win this one. Should be a hell of a match. Probably a lot of blood and all that. A lot of blood and guts in a non-blood and guts match. But it is no holds barred. Matthew, I'll go over to you. What are your thoughts on this one? Go ahead.
This is a weird one because, Kyle now is the savior of AEW and not Darby. And it just doesn't really make any sense. I'm happy that Kyle's getting used, but the fact that he has made Moxley run away from him the last couple times and then made Moxley kind of tap out last night kind of tells me that this is going to keep going. Now, does this eventually lead to, a lot of people are speculating, do the Dark Death Riders eventually turn on Moxley, and then God help us all, we get babyface Moxley. It's bad enough we might be getting babyface of other people soon. But yeah, I just don't see Moxley losing again. But then again, another certain duo might be losing their 4th pay-per-view in a row, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I just don't see Kyle winning after making Moxley look like a fool last night. So yeah, Moxley wins, Death Riders continues, at least probably to World's End.
All right. Oof, I'll go over to you next. Do you agree with what Matthew just said?
This match affects another match that we're going to talk about later, I'm sure, because it's a prediction. To go off what Matthew said, we've been seeing Mox get desperate. He tapped out. He's been tapping out a lot. And so I'm taking a wild shot here with this prediction saying that Kyle will win. We'll do it again. We'll make Mox tap because, again, this will affect another match we're going to talk about. I'll connect it when that match comes up because I do hope, from what we've been seeing a lot lately, is Jon Moxley freaking out. He is tapping out. And I am hoping that this is the true beginning of the end for not necessarily, I don't think, the entire Death Riders, but Jon Moxley's part in it, where they're finally going to be fed up. And again, this match also affects another match we're going to talk about in a few. So I am going to go with a wild shot saying that Kyle will make Mox tap again, because again, once we get to the other match we'll talk about, I'll tie it all together. But yes, Moxley will tap out to Kyle O'Reilly in this match. And again, when we talk about the other match, I'll connect the two together.
All right, sounds good. Dave, we'll go over to you now. Do you agree with what Oof just said?
Well, I kind of agree with what you said, Aaron. The thing is, I'm glad what Matthew said about now Kyle is the savior, but he's glad he's being used. I am too, because he was hurt a lot of the time since he's been with AEW. And I remember the Kyle O'Reilly back in the black and gold NXT. And I really liked the Undisputed Era when they were hot. And I'm glad he's getting some time. I just can't see Moxley getting beat down for a 3rd week in a row, basically. He tapped in blood and guts. He was shown visibly tapping last night. And it's like we've always talked about, who gets the last laugh before a pay-per-view. I just think somehow, some way, Moxley's going to win this match. And unfortunately, but I do think his weakness is going to lead to something happening where they kick him out. I wish they disband when they kick him out, but unfortunately, I don't think they're going to disband when they do eventually kick him out. Kind of like the Judgment Day. When they kicked Edge out, they continued.
We'll see what happens. But thank you for that, Dave. We're all on the same page that we think, well, no, that's not true, because Oof did go with Kyle. So we'll see what happens with that one. And we'll move on to the next match. We'll talk about the other Kyle now. Kyle Fletcher defending the TNT Championship against Mark Briscoe in my favorite type of match, a no DQ match. Not the same as a no holds barred. I'm not sure how they're different exactly. How are they different? No DQ, no holds barred. I don't know.
Completely the same.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But anyways.
Really, yeah.
If Fletcher wins, Mark Briscoe must join the Don Callis family. Now, I'm not sure how you enforce that. Does he have to stand out there with them? Like, I'm never a fan of this type of stipulation where the babyface, if he loses, he must join the faction. Remember when John Cena had to join Nexus? Like, I thought that was dumb. And Cena's out there as the reluctant tag team partner, but he's not really with them. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it personally. Mark Briscoe beat MJF, so they have been pushing Briscoe. Kyle's been champ for a little bit now, but not too long. So I'm a little torn on this one. Dave, I'm going to go right back to you on this. What are your thoughts on this match? Do you see a new champion being crowned?
I definitely do. I think they got to reward Mark. He's been putting in the work. They've just set up the way this is, and I think that stipulation it sealed the deal for me that he was winning this match over Kyle. It's been a so-so run for him. I think that they got to put it on Briscoe at this point and let him have some time. I think, has he ever had a singles title before anywhere? Because he always was with tag team with his brother, wasn't he?
He was ROH champion, wasn't he?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sure about that because I know they were. I didn't see much of them as a tag team, to be honest, back then, because I didn't have access to Ring of Honor at that point. But I just think he should be winning this match. And the Callis family needs it, and they've had some stories with the Callis family that have been kind of interesting. The Bucks, obviously, with this broke Bucks, and this story's been a little bit interesting, but they've paused and they've stopped it at times. And I think it comes full circle here, and Mark does win.
All right. Thank you for that, Dave. Oof, we'll go over to you next. Your thoughts on this one. New champ?
Two things that AEW does not need. Number one, more titles. And number two, more members of the Callis family. So I'm with you, Aaron. How do you enforce it? Does Mark just stand there, like you said, when they all come out and he's standing there being himself and all that? Kyle's got, I believe, 2 wins over him. And yeah, I think he can drop the TNT title to Mark. Kyle will be fine. He is one of the future stars of AEW. Even in the long run, he will be. He's got the look. He's got the skills and all that. So him dropping the title won't affect him at all. He is a future big star in that company. So yeah, I'm predicting that Briscoe gets the title this time around. It just would feel weird that for Kyle just to beat him and oh, you're in the Callis family, and that's the last thing we need. And Dave said it just as well. Like, they have the whole thing with the young Buckaroos. Well, they joined the Callis family. It's like we're seeing the NWO here again. We're seeing the McMahon Helmsley regime. It's like all this one big faction with all these members. Enough is enough, I think. It's like, I get it. Don Callis wants to have power and all that, but to have Mark Briscoe part of it, again, the whole reluctant thing, like we just mentioned earlier, like Daniel Bryan with the Wyatts, John Cena with the Nexus. Like we've seen this before. So I think Mark finally wins a new singles title in AEW. He can hold it over. Now he can hold it over the Callis family that he stole their title. They may go back at it again at World's End or another pay-per-view. So yeah, new TNT champ, Mark Briscoe.
All right. And I'm agreeing. I think we're going to have a new champion crowned because we don't need any more Don Callis people. Matthew, would you agree with that, or do you think Kyle will retain?
I think it's a bad night for anyone named Kyle. But couple things that were pointed out as well. They kept mentioning Briscoe is 0-3 against Fletcher.
Yeah.
Also, didn't Fletcher just recently say that he just beat Cody's record to become the longest or have the most title defenses for the TNT title? And, Tony in numbers. And, it's clear that he wants to, wipe, a WWE name from the top person of that title. Look at Jade, look at Cody now. But yeah, I think this is Mark's time. He was ROH world champion, but he still lost every match he was in AEW, which was kind of disappointing. But I think this is his time. Now, yeah, there could be some fun stories of trying to see, Don Callis trying to make a prim and proper Briscoe, trying to put him in a suit and things like that. But I think there's a better story of just letting Mark be Mark and get that win. And somebody did point out, it is funny that, he got beaten down and where's all his buddies? Maybe this is time for Mark to go solo too. But yeah, I think Mark Briscoe finally gets the win because, like Goofman said, we don't need any more Don Callis family members.
All right. Thank you for that, Matthew. And now we'll move on to our next match, which is I know these are Matthew's favorite types of matches. The $1 million, actually, this is the wrong match. Botch. Where's that other match? Oh,
we're live, pal. We are live.
All right. We got the AEW tag team titles up for grabs. I got ahead of myself here. We got Brodido defending against FTR. This could be the match of the night. I think this will be a great tag team title match. I'm officially predicting a title change, and the reason being is that I feel like Adam Copeland will be back with Christian, and we're going to have that feud resolve itself, and we will finally get the match that I thought we were going to have in Toronto for the tag team titles. Maybe Revolution will have FTR versus Cope and Christian. That is my prediction. FTR win the titles to set up Copeland and Christian having one more AEW or just in general tag team title reign. That's my prediction. The run of Brodido will come to an end. They had a pretty solid run, but I think it's time to get the belts on FTR and make them as strong as possible. And then when we have Cope and Christian return, they can go for the titles and become tag team champions one more time in their career. That's what I think. Oof, I'll go over to you next. Do you agree or disagree with that?
100% agree with you, Mr. Rift. Yeah, this is set up for, like you said, Brodido, great. They were put together. Everyone's like, how is this going to work out? And they actually did have a nice little fun tag team title run. Great matches with the two of them working together. But yes, FTR, I believe, will become the new tag champs, like you said, to set up that final encounter against both Cope and with Christian, so they could settle their score. The whole question is, when will that happen? World's End, probably too soon. First of all, we don't know if Adam Copeland's done filming yet, that new Percy Jackson stuff that he's doing. So maybe at Revolution or sometime in early 2026. But yeah, have FTR run mugshot around the tag division a while, have their egos get bigger and bigger until we finally see that grand return. I was reading I forgot where I read it, but maybe even again, since they might want to pull surprises, maybe FTR win the belts on Saturday, and then you think him, maybe Edge just pops out. I don't know. I don't want to make a prediction like that. I highly doubt, like someone I know would say, highly unlikely in all likelihood. So I don't think Edge, Cope or Christian will come out on Saturday, but if they do, cool, great for the crowd. But yeah, FTR, new tag champs, give them a nice run, maybe a couple months. And like you said, maybe Aaron, maybe at Revolution or sometime in early 2026, but new tag champs.
All right, there you have it. All right, Dave, do you agree with that? Are you going to keep us on the right page here?
100% I agree with you, both of you. The only difference, and Oofman kind of brought it up about, and you brought up Edge is still filming. I kind of think that maybe at least Christian might show up at the end, at least to say, hey, we got our eyes on you. You're not far away from us. But I definitely think they're going to win. They haven't, I don't know if they've been a heel tag team champion in AEW since back when they came in, except when they were fighting the Bucks, if you remember, during the pandemic. They're a good heel team. As good a face team as they are heels. I mean, I think they handle both really well, and no matter what you throw at them. Brodido was fun to watch. I got to admit, they were a fun team to watch. And I'm so glad Brody King got some due, because Brody was stuck in the House of Black and he really didn't get a shine. And I think with Bandido, he got to shine a little bit. And it was fun to watch them. I mean, as much as sometimes I don't like all the fancy stuff in AEW, I watched their matches because I just thought they meshed really well together.
All right. Thank you, Dave. Matthew, we'll go over to you now. Will it be 4 for new champs?
I mean, yeah, I don't. I'm actually shocked that Brodido's held it this long. I expected them to have a very short reign. They ended up being, this underdog put together tag team that ended up going quite a while. You know what? They had 3-4 pay-per-view wins as tag champions. But yeah, everybody knows that we've been building towards FTR versus Copeland Christian again. Originally, we thought it was going to be for the titles the first time, but that's where it's gonna go. And FTR will become the second team in AEW to be 3-time tag champs, I think, behind the Bucks. But yeah, I'm just curious what will happen to Brodido after this. I hope they don't break up. But, it seems a lot of tag teams, after they lost the titles, we don't see them again. But, yeah, we get new champions. And I think, much like you said, this is probably going to be one of the matches of the night, if not the match of the night. Because it's just three really good teams. And there are two really good teams. And they're going to beat the living hell out of each other as well.
All right, there you have it. That's from Matthew. And now we will move on to the match I was jumping the gun with, the $1 million match. One of Matthew's favorites. We got Kenny Omega and the Jurassic Express against Josh Alexander and the Young Bucks. Winning team gets $1 million. We have the tease of the Young Bucks turning babyface, and it was escalated on Dynamite a little bit. So we'll see what happens here. I could very well see the turn happening on this show. Dave, I'll go to you first on this one. What are your thoughts? Do you think we get the Young Bucks turn? Which team goes over in this $1 million match?
I think that we're going to have the baby faces win this one. I think there's going to be some more friction with the Bucks, whether they turn face here or not. I'm not sure. But I think definitely Jurassic Express and Kenny Omega is going to get the win. I would think maybe at the end of this, there's a beatdown again by the Callis family, maybe. And this time, the Bucks don't turn away from helping. That's how I see it. I think they turned away the other day. I think they're not going to turn away this time. They've teased it twice about helping. So this third time's a charm, I think. They're going to turn. So Rod and Todd will be baby faces, as Matthew puts it. And
oh boy, I'm sure Matthew's thrilled about that. But before we get Matthew's opinion, I want to go to Oof next so we can build up the suspense here, because we all know Matthew loves Rod and Todd, the Bucks, and he loves the $1 million matches. Oof, we'll go to you.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, like Dave said, the tease has been there for the Bucks to turn face. And as much as I have enjoyed the Broke Bucks, as much as I enjoyed the whole Titantron screen, the kick to the back on the graphics, even the announcing, it's all hilarious. You have to ask yourself, all right, how much longer can this go? How much more creative? The whole shtick of, all right, they get money, they blow it, they get money, they blow it. Eventually, these matches with these amounts have just gotten, now it's $1 million. Like, I get that Tony Khan has cash, but it's getting a little. It was 250, then 500. Now we've reached $1 million. What's next? 5 million? Like, it's gotten a little out of hand. It's ridiculous, but welcome to the crazy life known as professional wrestling. So I'm going to go with the baby faces winning, and again, Josh will probably yell at the Bucks, and then, yeah, like Dave said, maybe the Don Callis family comes down to beat on Jurassic Express and Mr. Omega, and then we see the reunion of the Elite, and then maybe they become a trio. We see Carry On Your Wayward Son again. I don't know, but I think, yeah, this is the beginning of the babyface turn for Rod and Todd Flanders.
Yeah, I think the baby faces definitely win, and I could very well see the Bucks turning on this one. Matthew, now I'll throw it over to you, and I know you've been thinking about this. Go ahead, give us your thoughts.
I think I've thrown up quite a bit in my mouth, but yeah, unfortunately, I mean, baby faces are winning, but God help us, we're getting babyface Bucks, and I hate it. I hate the whole, how many times are the Elite going to break up and then reform BS? It's to me, it's desperation because they're EVPs and they're Tony's buddies, but it's just, they need to go away, like Moxley, like someone else who we'll mention soon. But yeah, I think Jobber Alexander is going to eat the pin, as he should, but baby faces will retain. Now, I'd wonder, will this lead to friction between Jungle Boy and the Bucks still, and maybe that leads to a double turn eventually? I don't know, but I just hate the fact that we're getting babyface Bucks I mean, baby faces or not, I'm never gonna cheer them. They will never be a team I like. But yeah, baby faces win. Bucks will be reluctant, but there'll be a beatdown, and then they'll save at least Kenny. Maybe not Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, but yeah.
All right. Thank you, Matthew. And we got just a few matches left here, so let's get to them. All right. We got the Women's World Championship match. Kris Statlander against, 16 belts, Mercedes Moné. I'm not even sure what it is at this point. She's got pretty much every women's title that isn't a WWE title in the United States, and then maybe a few overseas ones as well. Can she pull it off here? She failed last time when she faced Toni Storm. Can Mercedes Moné win the women's championship and be the dominant woman, I should say, in AEW and arguably in wrestling? She did win the PWI Women's Wrestler of the Year. So Dave, we'll go to you. What are your thoughts on this one?
This one was the hardest one for me to pick, and I think we were all talking about it in the chat during Dynamite yesterday. Believe it or not, I looked up the odds and Chris's favorite. Yeah. So I know where my heart is going. My heart is going Kris, and I really, really, really hope she wins. And I'm going to use that faith and say I'm going to go with Kris, and not let Moné get another title yet. I think Kris needs to get a strong win. Don't take the title off her this quick. I after all she went through to give it to Moxley and them to stay with on her own and with the faces and to have it gone after a title defense, I don't think so. She's winning. She's going to beat Moné somehow, some way.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kris Statlander wins this one. She is the betting odds favorite, and Mercedes did look very strong at the end of the 3-hour block, the end of Collision when she won that Ring of Honor title that I didn't even remember existing. What is it? The Ring of Honor TV women's title or something?
Yeah, she was interim champion, and then Red Velvet was hurt, and then they finally undisputed match was last night.
Whatever, man.
Yeah, and I missed that too.
Mercedes is going to lose, and maybe it'll be some sort of a downward spiral storyline where she'll keep dropping all the titles. I don't know, but yeah, she obviously doesn't need it. And, Statlander can have the win of her career, even though she's the women's champion. Beating Mercedes Moné would be a big deal for her. So yeah, I'll say Kris retains. Matthew, I know you're almost as big of a Mercedes fan as you are the Young Bucks. So go ahead and give us your thoughts on this one.
This one is interesting because I feel Tony's booked himself into a corner. Statlander's barely had a title reign yet. She's had one match with Tony, and that's really been her only major defense that I can think of. But it's the spoiled, egotistical, self-indulging diva. And they're already counting the 2 ROH titles as 2 separate titles. So she's now a 14-time champion. And I feel part of her ego is she wants at least 15. She wants to tie, if not eventually beat, Charlotte Flair's total record. Because we know, she is the Jannetty of the 4 horsewomen. She always will be. Sorry, not sorry. But it eats at her that Charlotte has had 14 title reigns. And I don't see them having Mercedes lose again, because then how do you ever let her have another world title reign? But I mean, I've said that about Drew, and they've done it before. So my heart wants Statlander, but I'm conflicted. And then last night they made Statlander look like a clown. She tapped out and then apparently sulked away with Red Velvet, not even bringing the belt with her. So she left the belt there with Mercedes, and I'm worried creative control is going to go over again. So, but
apparently she doesn't have any.
Yeah, and I have $1 million.
And pigs fly, right?
Yeah, but my heart says Statlander, but my gut says Law Mercedes wins again, and I hate it. But I want to hopefully be wrong on this one.
All right, so you are going with Mercedes. All right. Oof, we'll wrap it up with you. We got 2 matches left, so go ahead.
Yeah, just like Matthew, coming into this, I was scared out of my mind. Would Tony Khan put his Women's World Championship on someone who has still the TBS, which is technically the secondary title of the company, on her? And I probably about a good 2 weeks ago, I probably would have said yes, he would, because he is insane like that. However, this, again, contrary to Matthew, I'm okay with this Mercedes CEO belt collector shtick. I'm okay with it. If she's making agreements with all these companies to win their title, to hopefully help them sell tickets around the world, I'm okay with that. Cool. But to make this character now interesting, because yes, like Matthew says, LOL, Mercedes wins. I'm getting fed up with that as well. But to give this character a character, keep telling that little story that people have been hopefully catching on. Mercedes is 2-0 against Statlander. In fact, she beat her at last year's Full Gear for the TBS title. She retained, I know, because I was there. And then she beat her again a couple months later. Cool. So she's 2-0 against Kris. But the real story that they can tell is, what is that blemish on Mercedes' record? That one loss she has against who? Timeless Toni Storm. In what kind of a match? For the AEW Women's World title. Let that be the story, that Mercedes can't win the big one. And especially with all these titles that she has, you can't tell me that Tony Khan is going to put his women's title on Mercedes, and then she's going to go around the world and start losing all those titles while still being his dominant women champion. I cannot see, Matthew mentioned Mercedes' ego. I can't see Tony's ego letting that happen. So I predict Kris Statlander will retain on Saturday, and this will begin the spiral of the new story of Mercedes now defending these titles. Let them chip away, and then where she's at the breaking point of just being the TBS champion, where she again loses that again, and then she finally wins the AEW Women's World Champion. Let that be the lone belt that she has, and she could do this spiral story. Like I said, she's out of control. Mercedes does a pretty good nut job character where she goes crazy, she's yelling. So let that be that new character. But she finally wins the Women's World title, and like in a snap, she's back to this CEO diva. So Mercedes can act. She can do it. I know she can, but you can't tell me that Tony Khan's going to put that Women's World title on her, have her lose all these other belts, and still walk around with the world title. Can't happen. I do like Kris Statlander. She is a great talent. She just got the belt, and like Matthew said, just had really one big title defense. Well, guess what? Here's number 2. Let's build up not only Kris as a champion, but build up that character, Mercedes nut job, going insane. And then sometime in 2026, maybe at Double or Nothing or a big show, or even All In or Out next year, finally you get Mercedes that world title. But let that be the story. She can't win the big one. With all these championships around the world, she can't win the AEW Women's World Championship. So this Saturday night, Kris Statlander retains the women's title.
All right. Thank you for that. Oof. We got 2 left here. Let's get to this. We got Pac, Mr. Muscular Man himself, Pac, versus Darby Allin. Last time we saw Darby, he was press slammed off the top of the entrance tunnel through a flaming table. So Darby's looking for revenge, and I think that really tells you all you need to know. Darby got taken out. He's coming for revenge, and I think Darby wins this one. I really don't have much to say about it other than it'll be a fun match. Darby will take some crazy bumps, but yeah, Darby gets his payback and will defeat Pac. Oof, we'll go right back to you now. What do you think about this one?
Well, this is the match I was talking about earlier. If this, I believe this match will be before the Moxley-Kyle match. So here I'm actually predicting Pac winning, beating Darby Allin. So then when we go to Mox and Kyle, where Kyle defeats Mox again, the whole Death Riders come out, and we finally see the beginning of the end of the Death Riders with Jon Moxley. They'll probably get to ringside, see Mox all defeated, and do the good old turn their backs and leave without him. So I'm picking Pac to win. It's going to be the crazy match, but it's a wrestling match, so Darby won't do it. I don't think he'll do that many crazy things in this match, but I am predicting Pac winning, which again will affect the Moxley match where Moxley will lose, the Death Riders will come, and finally the Death Riders will turn their back on Jon Moxley. I won't say the whole breakup will happen on Saturday, but that'll be the first crack. They will leave him alone in the ring and they will walk away from him. So, but for this match, Pac wins.
All right. Dave, do you agree with that? Do you think Pac's going to win this one?
No, I'm going to disagree. The second coming of Austin Aries is not winning. I really think there's payback here. It's after what happened, even though Pac wants a wrestling match and no funny games, funny business, which is kind of weird for the Death Riders. I think Uthman's thinking, I wish that would happen, but I wish instead of turning their back on I wish they beat the living daylight Marina Shafir. That'd be funny. But I think Darby's taking this match and getting his payback from being put through a table of fire.
By the way, not to go off course here. Well, we'll talk about it when we finish up here. I did want to add something. I just don't want to forget about it. But Matthew, we'll go to you now and get your thoughts on this, and then we'll move to the main event.
Yeah, I'm with Dave. The son of Austin Aries is not winning. I like Pac, but he really hasn't done anything of note in AEW, and then every time he starts to build up some sort of steam, he disappears again. And as crazy and dangerous as Darby is, there is more value in Darby than there is in Pac. Pac is the third most least effective person in the Death Riders behind Wheelie and Garcia. But yeah, I think this is just a way for Darby to get revenge, and I mean, I really can't think of anything else. Darby wins.
All right, there you go. So what I wanted to say was apparently during the press conference or whatever Tony Khan does, the media call to promote the show, he said that the new national champion will defend his title at the Ring of Honor event on December 5th. So that tells me Lashley's not going to win. I think it's going to be a guy who has association with Ring of Honor. So I'm going with Shelton Benjamin in place of Bobby Lashley. Just throwing that out there. I could see somebody like a Claudio also winning this. You know, if this guy's going to be defending in Ring of Honor, and isn't the national champion supposed to be like defending all around the world and such? So I don't think it's going to be Lashley. I changed my pick on that one. Anybody else want to change or sticking with Lashley?
Apparently, I've heard it's supposed to be Ring of Honor, supposed to be defended in New Japan, CMML, some random indie shows. But yeah, I mean, I think you'd get more eyes on people if it was Lashley, because Lashley's a big, imposing character. But I'm sticking with Lashley. But yeah, that is a good idea. It's like, who are you going to have that's going to go to all these shows? I'd personally like to see Lashley in Japan. That'd be pretty cool, because I don't know if he's ever done it. But yeah, I'm sticking with Lashley.
All right, Dave, you change. You got a pick for your change?
I think I'll take Shelton too, and maybe make my second instead of Hobbs. Now that you said that, I'll make my second Claudio, because he could be in this.
Yeah. I'm going to go Claudio as my second.
And he has been a Ring of Honor champion, like you said.
If Hook wins, then I'm just going to have to listen to his crappy music all the more. But I'll say Claudio's my number 2 and Shelton's my number 1. All right, guys, main event time. We got a steel cage match coming off of Blood and Guts, and 1 week before War Games, we have a steel cage match. Lots of steel, if you guys like that sort of match. We got Hangman Adam Page defending against Samoa Joe. Paige already beat Joe at Wrestle Dream, but then Joe turned heel on Paige. And the feud is, in my opinion, it's been a little lackluster. And I feel like on paper, this is one of the weaker main events for an AEW show that we've had. Just for the build-up, it's not really doing much for me. I'd love to see Joe get the title back, but I believe they're doing another season of the, what is it, Twisted Metal. And I presume that Joe is in that. I really don't know anything about the show, but if Joe's doing that, he'll be gone again. And plus, Joe's pushing 50, he's 46, 47, somewhere in that ballpark. So I don't think Joe's getting another title. I really do feel like this is filler. Maybe we get MJF returning at the end of the show in Newark. But yeah, I say Paige retains. Should be a hell of a match, though. I think it'll be better than the Wrestle Dream match with the cage stipulation. I'm just wondering what they can do that we haven't seen. We already had the blood and guts match. Like, what else can they do to make this match interesting compared to the other cage matches we've seen? And Paige even mentioned the Swerve match. The cage match was Swerve. So how do you top all that? That's what I'm wondering at this point. Oof, I'll go over to you. What do you think? What can they do for this one?
Well, that's the thing. After coming off of Blood and Guts and all that, what can they do? But the question, this was a really hard one to predict because on one side, Paige still holding the championship. I can't see him losing. But then what they gave us these past couple weeks. So last week during Blood and Guts, the quote unquote middle match, you had Hangman versus Powerhouse Hobbs, and he destroyed him. They did the Mick Foley rock thing from Royal Rumble. He landed on those circuit breakers. Spark, spark, spark. All right, Hobbs is in the hospital. He goes against the other guy, whose name escapes me at the moment, from yesterday, destroys him. So they basically made Joe have to prove himself that he could win without the other guys from the ops. They've made Joe a underdog. So right there, that tells me, why would you make it feel like Joe is an underdog and have him lose? It's like you make him look like a wuss if you do that. Like, he took away his other guys. He needs to prove himself that he can beat Hangman Adam Page. Well, like you said, he lost already once, and now he's going to lose again. And you took out his other two mates. I think it's going to make Joe look like a chump. So could they put the belt on Joe? Sure. Give him a little run here and there. But like you said, Aaron, I agree. I think Mr. MJF will show up at the end of the match with his contract thingy in his hand, reminding.
Yeah, he can't cash it in.
No, he can't cash it in, but he'll just remind the winner that he has it.
Right.
And the feud is MJF and Hangman. And will it happen at World's End? Who knows? Will it happen later? We don't know. So this was especially after last night, I'm like, man, what are they doing with the Joe character? I mean, I would love to see Joe again with the world title, give him a couple months run. But like I said, the focus should be MJF and Hangman. So if you put the title on Joe, will the other two be incorporated in that? Will Joe now be part of the feud? But to take a strong prediction, I'm going to say that Hangman retains, and then the show will end with MJF showing up, showing the contract, and they just have a stare down. And again, the cage is supposed to keep people out, but as we saw in Blood and Guts, anybody can come in and out, apparently, if you have the pliers, and if you can get in and out, and you steal the key from the ref, sure. So will there be chaos? I'm sure there will be, but in the end, Hangman retains this championship.
All right, thank you, Oof. Dave, we'll go over to you now. Thoughts on the main event? We presume main event.
Well, you're right, Aaron. I think that's one of the weakest main events. But Oofman, they can make Joe look weak because remember, heels are supposed to be chicken, and without his buddies, it'd be just like the heels running. They can make him look that way. I don't know what they could do, like Aaron said, to top this. I mean, I imagine he's going to try to do some things that he did in the Swerve match that he mentioned it. You put that teaser out there and he said, Joe, if you make me, you don't know where I can go. And I think there's going to be some stuff like that. But I mean, he's winning. There's no way Joe's going to have it because of the TV show, because of its age, because they have to set up MJF, and I agree with both of you. MJF's going to be out at the end because we got to finally see him. How long has it been since MJF has shown up? It was the last time was that promo that was shown on Dynamite after a pay-per-view in the back. That was last time. And he said, I'm going to come back and I'm going to be MJF, or it's going to be different. So he's coming back definitely at the end of this match. And I think you're going to see that the next big pay-per-view. I don't think they're going to go very long. I think it's because it was building before he left. I think they're going to just pick it up where they're continuing. And I think by the next pay-per-view, it could be the match. And it may not be only one match. You may see a few with them, depending on how it goes. But I see at the end, MJF's getting that title back. And I think he's going to, because remember when he was the title holder last time, wasn't he a face? And I think this time it's going to be as his heelish self. Hopefully he comes back a little more fresh, because I think he was starting to get a little stale with the same shtick too. And maybe him being gone for a little while will be what was needed. And I think him coming back fresh, I think we're going to see a nice feud between him and Hangman after all this. And Joe will be relegated back to his group and they'll move on.
Yep. I think that's a solid prediction right there. And yes, it's in Newark, New Jersey, not too far from Long Island, New York, across the Hudson River.
A good 3-hour ride, I should know.
Yeah, with traffic, it's quite a ride. If you can afford one of those private jets, it wouldn't be too long of a trip. But yeah, unless you're like the Succession people, you're not going to be getting there too quickly. All right, Matthew, we'll go over to you next and then wrap this up. Go ahead. Do you think we get the champ retaining and MJF shows up? What do you see happening?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree. I hate it because Joe's a favorite. I'd love to see him have a title reign, but I don't see it happening, especially with the fact that they have announced that Twisted Metal Season 3 is confirmed. So he's probably going to go take off after this. Hopefully he's not put through a fake wall again or something, but I could see maybe Hangman choking Joe out, even though we'll probably see quite a few choke out finishes this pay-per-view. But one, I don't think many people have ever made Joe tap out or choke out. So that would kind of be a big thing. But yeah, Hangman, for better or worse, will retain, and then MJF will show up. He'll tease the contract, and then we'll go to probably World's End, and it will be MJF versus Hangman.
All right, thank you, Matthew. And on that note, we will go ahead and wrap up this predictions video stream. We'll go ahead and do our plugs. Dave, we'll start with you. Anything you want to plug or any final thoughts?
There you go. It takes a second, but to get off mute. No, basically the only plug I have is say yes to No DQ always, and as usual, I appreciate you guys having me, and thank God I had no issues with my with my computer tonight. But I definitely appreciate that. Great shirts, the ORM shirt for Mr. Virtue, and No DQ review shirt. People buy the shirts. Thumbs up for our videos. Aaron does an amazing job, and he has as long as I've been involved with No DQ, whether just watching or getting to be on the panels. And as meeting, again, I say it every time, and I'm sorry I'm sappy, but meeting all you guys has been a pleasure, and getting new friends in my life, it's been a pleasure to meet everybody.
It's an honor to have you on, Dave. Thank you so much. Oof, we'll go over to you next. We got your plug here, so go ahead and let us know where we can find you.
Yeah, just like Dave said, again, thank you, gentlemen. So much fun coming on NoDQ.com. Aaron's one of the best there is in the world. Check out my channel, Oofman Entertainment Presents Gavin with Oof. I'm busting through Natty's book. It's getting really, really good. I as besides the fact that I'm a Natty mark, I'm a Hart family mark. It is a really, really great book. So far, so good. When I'm finally done, I'll do a nice review about it. I'm such a mark for Natty that I also downloaded the audio version of her book. So yeah, and also Brett's book has finally been released on audio. I'm told it's 20 hours of Brett himself reading his book. So yes, I'm going to download that as well. I'm a mark for the Hitman. That's what I do. So my next video will be me finally discussing the book. I'll try not to do spoilers in it because, again, besides the fact that I am a mark for the Hearts, I have to say my all-time favorite wrestling book has to be Bret Hart. Right now, number 2, in my opinion, is Jericho's second book, Undisputed, but Natty's is right behind him. So it's a Canadian book affair with me. So I highly recommend getting her book. Get Jericho's book. Does Brett mention Goldberg in his book? No, he doesn't. I think if I remember, it's been a while since I read Brett's book twice. I read it once and then I read it again just for giggles. He mentions just the career ending of it, but that was before Brett went all crazy Goldberg on him. But whatever, Mr. Bill Goldberg. So get Natty's book, get Brett's book, and they're available on audible.com. Both Brett and Natty's book. Natty's book is only like about 8 hours long of her narrating it. Brett's, I heard, is 20 hours. So I don't care. I'm a mark. So I don't care what Virtue says. I am a mark for the Hitman for the Hearts. Proud of it.
Thank you, Oof. Much appreciation to you. And Matthew, we'll go over to you now. I know you're on the No DQ comment section on the bottom of every news post, and I'm not seeing Oof or Dave on there, so you guys got to get on there and comment with the No DQ Galaxy. Matthew, where else can we find you?
I mean, really, that's about it. I mean, I am on Facebook, but I mean, just, buy the shirt. Thank you for letting me always be part of the No DQ. It's since you found you guys, I have a new, respect for wrestling. It's always been something I've enjoyed, but I like having a community that overall, for the most part, we can agree, we can disagree, but we most of the time keep it civil. And, I'm just always thankful to be part of it. Check out nodq.com and, thank you for this. And, look forward to the show. And, of course, look forward to the review panel on Tuesday. Of course, we've got the Survivor Series predictions this Sunday. Yep. And, of course, Survivor Series next weekend. And hopefully everybody has a safe Thanksgiving as well. And, of course, an early happy birthday to Aaron.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, guys. Boss man.
Appreciate it. So, yeah, we will be back. We got SmackDown.
Aaron, I want to give you one more plug.
Yeah.
Aaron, I want to do one more plug for you about the birthday.
Everybody
watch the review after Full Gear. Aaron's taking his birthday to watch 8 hours of wrestling for us and to give us a review. Follow him and watch him.
That's the least we can do for your birthday, Aaron. We'll watch your review. We'll have cake too.
All right, spread the word. Just spread the word. Tell a friend. Technically, it'll be the 23rd, but anyways,
it's your birthday weekend. That's what matters.
We got a lot coming up, and also Sunday will be the Survivor Series predictions, as Matthew mentioned. 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So that's all for this time. Thank you guys again. Much love and appreciation. Say yes to nodq.com, and we will see you all next time.
Buenas noches.